What's going on, guys, and welcome back to LOI TV. Now today we are going to be doing what is going to go down very controversially, I'd imagine, an all-time League of Ireland 11. Maybe I shouldn't call it all-time because I am kind of only doing it from my era once again, in terms of if you watched the Republic of Ireland video I did the other day with Tig and Socko. We talked about the best 11 we'd seen in our lifetime. It's going to be kind of similar enough in this video for me, because I'm not going to put the likes of maybe Pat Fenton, players like that in, who had great careers and were fantastic players, but I never really saw them myself, so it'd be hard for me to justify putting them in. But if you have seen those players, if you're from the old generation watching this video, make sure to let me know down in the comments below on YouTube. Like your starting 11 in terms of this question. It's a highly debatable one, and I'm sure to upset a few people. I did ask for, if you do follow us on Instagram, we have been doing a thing over the last week or two in terms of asking you guys for your favourite League of Ireland teams of all time. So we have a starting 11 in place from there as well, and you can probably see from the demographic on Instagram that the players are very, very recent, so that was to be expected, to be fair. So that is going to be skewed, but there was a lot of older players put in there as well. I'd like to think my team goes back far enough, maybe not as far as some would like, but I think I'm pretty happy with the side I've put together. So I think we're just going to jump right into it, guys. If you are watching on YouTube, please be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe and share it as well if you don't mind. And if you're listening to us on Spotify or iTunes, it'd mean a lot to us if you could follow. I think it's follow, isn't it? And leave a 5-star rating on it as well. That'd be really, really appreciated. But yeah, I think we're just going to jump right into it, guys. We'll start off with the goalkeepers, of course. And there must have been a lot of Bows fans on this poll, because for the Instagram team, they've gone with Shane Supple as the all-time League of Ireland goalkeeper. He joined Bohemians in June of 2016. He had spells with Ipswich and teams like that before. He had been quite injury prone as well, but he was fantastic for Bows, to be fair. In the two seasons I think he was with them, he was voted the Bows Player of the Year in 2018, and actually earned an Ireland call-up during that time as well, which was really, really good for the league as well as for him, of course, as well. So yeah, he was a fantastic goalkeeper for those couple of seasons in the LOI. Wasn't the one I went for now, to be fair. But yeah, Shane Supple, I wouldn't do it, because just considering the amount of time that he spent in the league wasn't that long, and he didn't really win any trophies or anything like that. So I've actually gone with Gary Rogers as my goalkeeper. He's of course a League of Ireland legend, still going strong at the age of 38 years old. He won the FAI Cup with Drogheda in 2005, I think it was. He's also won the league and the cup with Sligo. He has 4 league titles with Dundalk and 2 FAI Cups with Dundalk as well. He's earned 2 Irish squad call-ups, and of course he's played so much European football with these teams as well. With Dundalk, he's famously got to a Europa League group stage, I think the Champions League playoff game as well. So been involved in some huge matches, and his trophy cabinet speaks for itself. There's going to be a few Dundalk heads in this team, so when I'm talking about them, it's kind of the same era as Gary Rogers in terms of the titles and the European football as well, which plays a big factor, to be fair, because not an awful lot of teams from Ireland have got into the European stages of a competition, and I think that has to be considered as well. So yeah, that's my goalkeeper. I've gone with Gary Rogers. You went with Shane Supple. Moving on to the back four, you guys went for, must have been a lot of Bows fans on the second day as well, you went for Derek Pender. And to be fair to Derek Pender, he was a very, very consistent performer throughout his career, very solid League of Ireland career. Maybe not won an awful lot. He was a really, really a big fan of favourite at Bohemians, was of course their captain, and a real reliable character, good lad in the dressing room, you'd imagine, as well. So yeah, Derek Pender is a solid shout, but for me this is a no-brainer. I would have actually had Sean Gannon above Derek Pender as well, the current Dundalk right back, who could possibly overtake the right back I have him in here. I've gone with Owen Heary. He was top class, great tackler. You couldn't get around him. He was good going forward, a nice cross, nice delivery on him as well. He won 5 titles and 1 FAI Cup with Shelbourne. He was voted the PFAI Player of the Year in 2001, 2002. He was, of course, played in some European matches with Shels against Deportivo and the likes as captain as well, of course. He then joined Bows in 2007 and captained them to the Cup and League double in 2008, which is a famous season for Bohemians, of course. And they also won the league again in 2009 with Owen Heary as captain. So yeah, it's a no-brainer for me that Owen Heary goes in at right back. And Owen Heary actually got a few votes at centre back, which I thought was interesting. I think he had 3 or 4 votes for centre back, which I thought was strange. So maybe if they were added into right back as well, he would have actually been your choice from Instagram as well. But no, you went with Derek Pender. I thought Owen Heary was a no-brainer there, to be honest. The first of the centre backs we actually did agree on. We both went with Brian Gartland. He's had an unbelievable League of Ireland career. As I spoke about with Gary Rogers, a similar amount of, I think he's won 5 Premier Division titles. He was made club captain in 2018 after Stephen O'Donnell retired. He's played in all the European matches, of course. I think he's over 150 appearances for Dundalk. He's just been a really, really consistent figure for them in their most successful period of the club's history, really. So he's a real legend at Dundalk, and yeah, he made it into both of our teams. Now for the second centre back, I was surprised by the person you chose. You went with Pico Lopez at Shamrock Rovers, which I thought was very surprising. He's only really entering his prime I think he's only 27 years of age, so he's plenty of time left in his career to really establish himself as a top class legendary left centre back in the League of Ireland. I don't think he's done that as of yet. I think there'll be an awful lot of players ahead of him in the pecking order in terms of an all-time League of Ireland XI. I'd say he'd even admit to that at this stage of his career. But as I said, he's plenty of time left to become that kind of win titles and stuff like that. So it probably is wrong to include him right now, but he is actually a Cape Verde international. He played for Bows for many years at central defensive midfield mainly, and when he moved to Shamrock Rovers in a controversial move, he did step back into the back four and is partnering Lee Grace, who also got a good few votes as well. Lee Grace is fantastic. They actually have a very good partnership, the two of them. So he did win the FAI Cup last year, of course, which is a factor. But yeah, not for me. I went with Colin Hawkins, a fantastic central defender at Shels for a good few. I remember watching him at Shels, the iconic big nose I remember he had, and yeah, he won 2 titles with St. Pat's, 1 with Bohemians, 1 with Shels, and he also spent time in England with Coventry and Brighton. So yeah, Colin Hawkins for me was a no-brainer as well, to be honest. He's a fantastic central defender, and you wouldn't get many goals past Hawkins and Gartland, 2 very good defenders to have at the heart of your defence. So yeah, that's the central defensive partnership. At left back, we actually both went with the same. We both went with Dane Massey, who of course is a fantastic League of Ireland left back, and it's actually, as I'm filming this, the 17th of April. It's actually his 32nd birthday today, so happy birthday to Dane Massey. And what better birthday gift could you get than being voted in the League of Ireland all-time 11? And he has plenty of medals to show for his career, similar to Gary Rogers and Brian Gartland. He's won 5 leagues, 2 FAI Cups, and his standout season was probably 2015, where plenty of people were calling for Martin O'Neill to actually include him in the Ireland squad. And apparently Martin O'Neill was sending scouts to watch him and was very close to getting into the squad, apparently. And left back had of course been a tricky area for Ireland over the years, so I'm surprised he actually didn't get the call up in the end. But he's been a fantastic player for Dundalk, and still going strong now, keeping out promising Darragh Lee. He's still starting ahead of him at the moment for Dundalk. So yeah, Dane Massey was both of our choices there, and yes, well deserved in my opinion. Now moving into the midfield, of course I said it was a 4-4-2 formation. So on the right hand side we're going to start with, and you guys went with an interesting one. Conan Byrne was the most voted for right midfielder, and yeah, of course he had a fantastic League of Ireland career. I wouldn't put him in an all-time 11 if I'm being perfectly honest. I think I rate him very highly. He was a very solid midfielder and did very well and scored a lot of goals and would get you a goal if he needed one and everything. But he wouldn't. I think there is better options, and I'd say he'd admit that himself. Yeah, he won the FAI Cup with Sporting Fingal, played in Europe with them as well. He won the league with St. Pat's in 2013, and also won promotion with Shelbourne last year. So yeah, he's picked up the medals, I suppose, and he's had a solid career. But I think there was better options personally, and the one I went with was Paddy McCourt. I know he could play in other positions across the midfield and stuff like that, but in my team I'm gonna slot him in at right midfield. Possibly he's the most gifted player to ever grace the League of Ireland. Made a name for himself at Shamrock Rovers originally, and became a legend at Derry. I remember being at a Shells game when I was a kid, and I used to be one of those annoying kids that would go up to the players after the games and ask for their jerseys and their boots and all that shit when they're walking back down the tunnel. And I remember my brother was saying to me before the game, we were playing Derry, and he's like, if you're going down at all before or after the game or whatever, let's go for Paddy McCourt. That's all I want. That's the only player I'm interested in here and everything. It was pretty funny. Just to look back at that now and then see what he became after that. Yeah, but he became known as the Derry Pele because of his amazing dribbling ability. And he actually played in Europe against Paris Saint-Germain, which is a really interesting to see. Obviously PSG were a different beast back then, but it's still cool. He picked up 3 League of Ireland Cup medals with Derry, and he's impressed so much at his time there. And he attracted a lot of interest, of course he did. Fantastic footballer, and newly promoted Premier League side West Brom and Celtic both agreed a fee with Derry City of around 200,000. And he eventually did join us because he supported Celtic as a kid apparently, so he joined them, and Gordon Strachan was his manager and said he was one of the best players he's ever seen, or something along the lines of that. And his performances for Celtic were outstanding and actually led to rumoured interest from Liverpool, apparently. So that just shows you how well he was doing there. And he moved on to a few English sides after that, mainly playing in the second tier. I think it's Barnsley and Luton and teams like that. And yeah, he wanted to end his career on a high, and actually did so by gaining promotion with Finn Harps back to the top flight. I think that was in 2018, was it? 2018 it would have been, I think. Yeah, he also picked up 18 caps for Northern Ireland. So yeah, I think Paddy McCourt is a bit of a no-brainer for me. He's definitely one of the best players to have ever played in the League of Ireland. Yeah, top player, and I think he's actually not in the Instagram team at all, so that kind of says a lot, maybe about the demographic or whatever. But yeah, that was a no-brainer for me. Moving into the central midfield, the first Instagram player from the Instagram, the viewers team, is Chris Shields. Now he's been fantastic, to be fair, and he was one I definitely did consider. Yeah, he's been amazing for Dundalk. He's been a mainstay in their midfield since 2012. He's picked up 5 titles, 2 FAI Cups, played as the same as the other lads earlier on from the back 5. He's been in those European competitions and played in those games. And he's just been really, he's probably one of the most improved players. I think that's what people know him as, really, from his time. I think it was it Bray he was with before Dundalk, someone like that. And he's one of the most improved players people have ever seen, really, because I think he's probably the best midfielder in terms of what he brings. Still going strong in the Premier Division now. Yeah, he's a quality player. But I didn't go with him in my team. I couldn't fit him in. I actually went, of course, with Joey Endo, who I said before that Paddy McCourt was the best player to ever grace the League of Ireland, and Joey Endo will probably have something to say about that. He's definitely the most successful foreign import into the country. He picked up 21 caps for Cameroon, which is amazing, to be fair, and he actually won 2 Africa Cup of Nations with them. He won two League of Ireland titles with Shelbourne, and was actually the PFAI Player of the Year in 2006. He won the league with Bohemians. He won the league and the FAI Cup 3 times with Sligo. Yeah, his trophy cabinet is amazing. He's so just watching him. I feel bad for people who didn't get to actually watch him. He was just a magician on the ball. Some of the stuff he'd do, I think it was a flick over Keith Ward against Bohemians for Sligo, I think it went viral. Some of the stuff he'd do with the ball, it would just be stupid. Yeah, he's a fantastic footballer. And yeah, he's a joy to watch, and he had to be in my team. And he wasn't in your team either, in the viewers team. So the central midfielder that alongside Chris Shields in the viewers team was Ronan Finn. Now I wasn't really considering him myself, but he is a top League of Ireland player. He's won the league with Rovers and Dundalk. I think he's also won the FAI Cup with both of them, of course, winning the FAI Cup with Shamrock Rovers last year. He's played in Europe with Dundalk and Shamrock Rovers, and also Sporting Fingal he's played in Europe with. He's still the Rovers captain to this day, still going strong. He's very versatile. Maybe a bit underrated, not underrated, but like the likes of Aaron McAnuff and Jack Byrne might take the plaudits. And the headlines may be a little bit over Ronan Finn when his work goes under the radar a little bit, because he does bring a lot to the side and he's such a consistent performer. I think he's a quality player, but he wasn't one I considered myself. I went to a Keith Fahey from my team alongside Joey Endo. I went with that more kind of personally. I think Keith Fahey was just a top player. Might not have had he had a very good League of Ireland career. Didn't spend an awful lot of time there from my memory. But yeah, he probably spent his prime over in England where he belonged, really. I think he retired very young as well, which is a bit of a shame. But Keith Fahey won the PFAI Player of the Year in 2008. He then earned his move to Birmingham and won the League Cup with them against Arsenal. I loved that final. That was a brilliant cup final. I think it was Obafemi Martin scored the winner in that one, was it? Brilliant game. He was a key player for Birmingham in the Premier League and the Championship after when they got relegated as well. And then he joined Pats. He came back to Pats in 2013, and also he joined Rovers in 2014 and showed his quality during both spells. Never really he wasn't really too consistent for Rovers with injuries and stuff. I think he used to play for Bluebell United to finish off his career as well as that, but he did pick up 16 caps for the Republic of Ireland and scored 3 goals. So yeah, I loved Keith Fahey, and him alongside Joey Endo in midfield would have been a top pairing. Okay, moving on to the left flank now. The viewers went with Daryl Horgan in their team. Daryl Horgan, of course, was fantastic in the League of Ireland with Dundalk. He won 3 titles, 1 FAI Cup. He was the PFAI Player of the Year in 2016, and he was I think he was the main man from Dundalk who actually caught the eye in the European campaign, especially in the Europa League group stages. Like I think it was like Zenit and stuff away from home. He really impressed and really caught the eye of English sides and stuff like that. And of course eventually signed for Preston North End along with teammate Andy Boyle. Never really worked out as what he would have liked at Preston. He's now with Hibs and he's doing well there. He has 6 caps for the Irish team, the Irish national team. So yeah, I think Darragh Horgan was definitely one I considered. He was brilliant in the League of Ireland, but I had to go Wes Hoolahan. He played prominently on the left in the League of Ireland, so that's why I felt like I could get away with him here, even though he's probably more of a number 10. Naturally, he was a top talent, and I was just really happy when I looked at my midfield after. I think that's a really solid midfield of McCourt, Endo, Fahey and Hoolahan. I think that's top drawer, and there's of course other options as well. That people aren't going to like it, me leaving out some players that we will mention towards the end, but yeah, I those 4 for me were my favourites anyway. Wes Hoolahan stood out like a sore thumb for Shells in a good way. He was amazing for him. In the Champions League he really stood out in 04-05 in the qualifying games. He won 3 league titles with Shells, which is a good return, and he actually went on to become a Norwich City legend. He went into Scotland first, I think, with Livingston, then I think he went to Blackpool, and then Norwich. He was with them for years. Like, so yeah, I think personally I think he's the main player in this that made a really big splash on the international stage. I think he was the main reason Ireland got out of the group in Euro 2016. If you look at the points we got 4 points on the 3 games. We got the draw, and Wes Hoolahan scored the opening goal in that 1-1 draw, and he also got the assist for Robbie Brady's goal against Italy in the 1-0 win. So effectively he was a part of the 2 goals. We obviously lost the other game 3 or 4-0, so effectively Wes Hoolahan was the main reason we got through. And yeah, the ball in for Brady was sensational, and he was just a top drawer player, and was definitely underutilised for Ireland. Definitely we could have got a lot more out of him. He's just one of those players that Tiggs was talking about him a good bit in the Ireland XI video we did a few days ago, so go check that out. Yeah, but Wes Hoolahan, there's not enough words to describe how good of a player he was, really. 43 caps for Ireland as well, should be well over 50 easily. But yeah, I'm really happy that midfield. So the viewers' midfield was Conan Byrne, Chris Shields, Ronan Finn and Daryl Horgan, and my midfield was Paddy McCourt, Joey Endo, Keith Fahey and Wes Hoolahan. Then we move into the front 2, and we actually had the same striker for one of the positions. We both went with Glenn Crowe, of course, we went with Glenn Crowe. Quality player. One of the best goal scorers ever in the League of Ireland. Won 4 league titles with Bows and 1 with Shelbourne. That move to Shelbourne, of course, was very controversial. It didn't go down well with Bohemians fans that he made the short trip across the north side of Dublin. So he scored a remarkable amount of goals in Europe, hit 11 goals in European football, which is a really good return for a League of Ireland player. Of course, with those clubs, with Shels and Bohemians, as well as Sporting Fingal, he actually played in Europe with as well. He actually also got 2 Irish caps and finished his career out at Malahide United. What better way to do it? But yeah, he was brilliant, and I'm glad we both agreed on that. There'll probably be other people. There's so many strikers to pick from, to be fair, but I think Glenn Crowe definitely deserves to be in there. And the other striker the viewers went with to pair with him was Gary Twigg. Definitely one I considered, but I just didn't go with him in the end. But definitely one I considered. Yeah, he was a Shamrock Rovers legend. 88 goals in 160 games. His first ever goal score. He scored the first ever goal in the Tallaght Stadium ever scored there. So yeah, that's a really cool achievement for him, and one that no one can ever take away from him. He was just brilliant, and Shamrock Rovers fans will remember him forever. He was a PFAI Player of the Year in 2009. He won 2 league titles. I believe that was in 3 seasons. He won 2 leagues in 3 years. I think it was 3, maybe 4. But that's a really good return. And he was also part of the Hoop side that reached the Europa League group stage, with the first Irish side to ever achieve that. So that has to go down for something, to be fair. That has to, yeah, that's a really cool thing as well. So yeah, Gary Twigg is definitely a really good option. One of the best strikers definitely the League of Ireland has seen, and it was just the best spell of his career was here as well, which is kind of nice as well. So yeah, Gary Twigg is a Rovers legend and definitely deserves to be in the mix for the front 2 spots. But I just about went with Jason Byrne. Jason Byrne was the 2nd highest goal scorer in League of Ireland history, and I just had to go from my love to Jason Byrne. I thought he was a fantastic player. Everything about him was just really classy, and yeah, he joined Shels for 75,000 following a successful spell with Bray Wanderers. He was a PFAI Player of the Year in 2003, scoring 21 goals while as Shels won the league. Looking at his goal return for Shels, it speaks for itself really. 83 goals in 122 games is absolutely amazing. And that's why I was looking at Twiggs is 88 in 160 for Rovers, and Burns is 83 and 122 for Shels, and that's what sold me, I think, to go with Byrne. He impressed in the Champions League. I think he scored a good few goals there, and he earned a move to Cardiff City for 75,000, the same fee that Shels actually paid for him. And he moved to Bows after Cardiff let him go in 2008, and actually became a legend for Bohemians as well, because he scored the goals that won them the league that year, the 2008. And yeah, his goal scoring record for Bows was really good as well. And he had a couple of short spells around the League of Ireland with Dundalk, Bray, went back to Bows, UCD, Cabinteely. He also picked up 2 caps for the Republic of Ireland. I remember with Cabinteely, he was playing, I think it was like 38, 39 or something like that, and he was playing to try and beat to try and become the highest goal scorer in League of Ireland history, but he just fell short in the end, unfortunately. But yeah, Jason Byrne was fantastic. 2 caps for Ireland, as I said. But when you're competing with your cousin Robbie Keane, if you didn't know, everyone knows that, I think. But yeah, hard man to be competing with for a spot up front. But yeah, Jason Byrne, I say that was some competition when they were growing up together, kicking ball in the back garden. But yeah, Jason Byrne, definitely, I had to put him in my LOI all-time team. So yeah, just to run through the teams. The viewers team is Shane Supple in goal, Derek Pender right back, Brian Gartland and Pico Lopez centre back, Dane Massey left back, Conan Byrne on the right hand side of midfield, Chris Shields and Ronan Finn in central midfield, Darrell Horgan on the left of the 4, and then up front Glenn Crowe and Gary Twigg. Then my starting 11 was Gary Rogers in goal, Owen Heary right back, Brian Gartland centre back alongside Colin Hawkins. Then at left back Dane Massey. On the right hand side of the 4 in midfield, I went with Paddy McCourt. In the middle, I went with Joey Endo and Keith Fahey. On the left hand side, I went with Wes Houlihan, of course, and I went with Glenn Crowe and Jason Byrne as my front 2. I'm going to mention a few names that were considered, but there's going to be so many that I'm leaving out. I'm not even scraping the surface. Jack Byrne has been fantastic for Shamrock Rovers recently, and I'm getting a lot of people saying that he should be in it, but I just don't think it's too early. He's so young still. He's only 24, 25, so too early for him. He hasn't even won the league or anything, so whether he'll stick around long enough to do that remains to be seen. But Kevin Hunt was definitely a player that you'd have to consider with Bohemians. He was absolutely amazing for them, and he was very unlucky to miss out. Yeah, I'm probably gonna get a lot of stick for leaving him out. Liam Coyle, Derry City striker, and Tony Sheridan, Shelburne striker. I don't remember them that well, if I'm being perfectly honest. I don't remember Kevin Hunt that well either, because I didn't go to the Bows games at that time, but I remember Kevin Hunt being quality. Liam Coyle and Tony Sheridan were fantastic. I just don't really remember them. So I had to go with the Jason Byrne and Glenn Crowe, who I did remember. Richie Tell was fantastic for Dundalk. Now it's Salford City. That's an interesting project going on there, but he was amazing. He scored 25 goals from midfield for Dundalk. I remember being at the Shells game. I think the Shells lost 6-1 to Dundalk at Talca Park, and Richie Tell scored from the halfway line. He was just a really, really good player. Sean Maguire was interesting. Yeah, if maybe he spent a little bit longer in the league around, if he comes back, maybe he could be considered. He was very, very good, and he was he's just rapid, and that caused people problems, but he missed out. Stephen O'Donnell was definitely one that was unlucky to miss out, to be fair. Yeah, very, very unlucky to be missing out on the team. He's a fantastic player, of course, now the St. Patrick's athletic manager. Yeah, Stephen O'Donnell is one that you'd nearly try and get in, but yeah, I don't know. Killian Brennan as well was a player with Pats, of course, and only retired recently there. Killer Brennan, as I like to call him, with his free kick ability, a weapon of a left foot, fantastic footballer, and maybe unlucky to miss out as well. So that's not even going to scrape the surface on the players that are going to miss out in this team. But yeah, I'm happy enough with the 11 I've gone for. I want to know what you guys think of my 11, what you think of the Instagram 11. I'm not sure if I've had it on screen or not yet, but I'm hopefully going to have the two sets of 11 on screen, and you can have a look at them and leave your own. That's what I really want to see, is your own 11 down in the comments below. I hope you did enjoy the video, guys. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure to leave a like on the video down below, and make sure to subscribe as well. It means a lot to us. We're nearing the 2k mark, so hopefully when we come out of the quarantine and we're getting back to matches, we will have hit the 2k mark, which would be a really cool achievement for us. We'd appreciate the support a lot. If you're listening even on iTunes and Spotify, I mess this up every time. Please leave a 5-star rating, leave whatever comments or whatever, and follow the podcast as well. We really do appreciate it, guys. We're gonna have a lot more content coming out soon. If you have any suggestions or recommendations for stuff we should be doing, drop a comment or tweet us, or DM us on Instagram and all that stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you did enjoy. Keep safe out there. These are crazy times, and we're just gonna have to try our best to get through them together. And it's just one of them things, isn't it? It's a bit depressing at the moment, but we'll get through it. We're gonna have a lot of content coming with the lads as well. We're gonna try to do a few quizzes and just other videos, like maybe some similar videos to this. So yeah, hope you did enjoy, guys. Catch us in a bit.